What is up, jabronis? JJ back here with the PGA crew. Snyder, Mangone, Bobby Gomes. Uncle T's a little out of the office today, but no worries. The show moves on. Here to talk a little PGA Olympics. Different format this week than most. Interested in some course roundabouts as well. Snyder, you want to poke around a bit on the course, what to look for? I know we got, about 60 golfers this week, so there's no make-the-cut issues. What are you kind of expecting this week from this course, and how's it look?
Yeah, this course is gonna be pretty wet this week. They've been having some rainy conditions here in the past, and there's more rain in the forecast as we go. The golfers will see like larger greens here. They used to have like 2 greens per hole, and then they renovated this place and turned them into 1 green. So they're gonna have wide greens here. About 68 bunkers on the course. There's only going to be water in play on 2 holes. The par 5s are going to play long here, 640, 586, and 632. A couple of long par 4s here as well, which is going to make long iron play needed. They do have 4 par 4s here that will play under 400 yards or so. And 3 of the 4 par 3s will play at 200 yards plus as well. Key stats I'm looking at: approach, off the tee, birdie or better percentage. DraftKings, I guess that doesn't matter here, but sand saves as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, in regards to DFS, how do pool? I haven't looked at the pools, and obviously I don't give a lot of DFS content. However, the Louis Oosthuizen, as the cool kids say, I did say last week that I felt, just as an outsider looking in, that he made a lot of sense to go heavy on the top of that field. I didn't know ownership what it was going to be like, but as soon as Uncle T said he expected it to be on the lower end in the top tier guys, I mean, for me, it seemed like a guy that's just been a machine in a lower pool. Hindsight 2020, though, I was referencing it here. But DFS-wise, who are some guys we like? Snyder, I could start with you. Maybe a top price guy and a lower price guy in the DFS end?
Yeah, I'm going to go to my guy Morikawa at the top. I mean, he just prints for us. I keep bringing him up about every week. Fresh off his second major win at the Open. He's gaining nearly 11 strokes total tee to green in his last 5 events. He's got 5 finishes inside the top 8 in his last 6 events, including 3 majors. He's the best ball striker on tour. He should really attack these greens really well. I mean, he hits the fairways well, and they have the zoysia grass here, which makes the ball stand up a little more in the fairway. It's really going to, I think, help out these pure ball strikers as well. And down low, I'm going to go to a guy I've been on since he just got promoted to the PGA Tour a few weeks ago. And I've been talking him up ever since. And he's off back-to-back top 6 finishes at the 3M last week and then the Barbasol before that. And he's just great. He's just been great all around since he's been coming on. He's hit 76% of his greens or better in his last 3 events. I think he sets up well here. He's at a really good price tag of only $7.2K. So those are the 2 guys I will be on.
Which guy was that, Snyder?
Which guy was, yeah.
Mito Pereira.
Oh, Pereira.
Yeah.
Awesome. Man, go for DFS. Who your top and bottom looks?
So let me ask Snyder a question. I always do this, JJ. I'm going to stay on brand. I don't answer your question.
It never fucking changes.
It never changes. That's what we got to do. So Snyder just mentioned Mito, and I think it's worth talking about. What about these golfers that are traveling? I mean, dude, they got to travel from Minnesota all the way to Tokyo. They were at the British Open before, or the Open Championship for the golf hardos. I don't want to upset them, but to understand the travel of going from there to there to there, it's a lot, right? Patrick Reed has to deal with that travel. I don't know if Vegas has to deal with all of that travel, but he has to do some of it, and you have to. We're in the world of COVID, right? Where you have to, sit out and you have to make sure you're quarantined. You can't really play the course. Isn't Mito part of that group? Like, I think Mito is going to be very chalky on this slate. It sounds like people are buying into a lot of his recent form. He's a guy that people have been playing. I mean, do you have any worries about that? Because I had worries about that going into the tournament that we just played. Now, of course, not every single guy was going to bomb, right? Louis ended up doing well, but that's one reason I kind of said to Uncle T, I was like, I'm going to go Tringale over these guys at the top. And overall, Tringale beat most of them. So that is something I'm factoring in. Are you not factoring that in when you're kind of calculating your DFS lineups and bets?
Yeah, I think Mito will be popular as well as Johnny Vegas. so I'm going to only play one of those two, and it's going to be a Mito for me. I mean, they're both neither one of them played at the Open, so they're just traveling one way basically, since they're not going back and forth across the seas like Patrick Reed will. But yeah, I think Mito, he's young enough. I think he's spry. He'll bounce right back up. I don't really have any worry about him in the travels. I just like how he's been playing, and he's got all this confidence in the world now, and I just want to keep riding it.
So, Mangone, is this the part of the show where you actually answer the question you were asked? Or
yeah. So what's your question, JJ? And I got my answer from Snyder. What's your question? I got to talk to Snyder. I wanted to get the answer from him.
I know this sounds wild, but the questions aren't like random. Just looking for a few DFS guys. Top, bottom, whatever.
By a few, do you mean 1, 2, 5, 20? How many do you want, JJ?
I believe if you Google the word few, it's going to tell you it's 2. But feel free, 2, 3, 10, 20.
Let me know what you were going to say anyways and just do what I want to do. How about that?
That works too.
So at the top, there's a lot of guys to like. I'm going to list them off. Doesn't mean I like them all, JJ, but you got Morikawa, Thomas, Xander, Hideki, Rory. All those guys are really interesting options here. I mean, you can build with 2 guys at the top, but it feels difficult to do because then you have to really dip into some really nasty golfers. I think the best idea is to start with Morikawa as my number 1, and then my number 2 or 3, right? If I list them from 1, 2, 3, it's Morikawa, and then I'd go Xander, and then I'd go JT. And I don't know if you can get both in. I think it's very difficult to, because if you look at the DFS setup, you go Morikawa, you go Xander. I'm at 7K per position. That seems a little ridiculous. So I might let some ownership at the top factor where I go. My favorite, though, is definitely Morikawa, like I said, then Xander, then JT. Then we get down to some of these 9K guys, and I like Victor Hovland. I think Abraham Answer is another one that I'm looking at. I'm looking for really good ball strikers this week, right? And then if we get into the 8K range, Corey Connors is another ball striker that I'm going to go and take a look at there. And then we get to that 7K range, other guys, they're going to play Mito, right? They're going to go and play Vegas. Carlos Ortiz has had some really good ball striking. He's a guy that I play a lot. I think I'm going to go to him at 7-9. And then I'm looking at Rosner as well. Antoine, I don't know how to say it. Antoine, he's from France, so you probably say it in some other fancy way. But Mr. Rosner will be one of the guys, too, in that 7K range that I'm looking at. And like I said, don't dip too much in the 6K range. I don't think you want to be messing with the double spend-up build because, like I said, I just put it in there. I was saying it's something that you could do on FanDuel, but DraftKings, I just don't think it's really that viable because if you put 2 of those top-end guys in there, you're left for 7K in your last couple spots, and you'll get some low ownership maybe on some of these 6K guys, but I don't know if I trust them exactly.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, I think you might have broke your show record there for names given out, but that's cool. That you just stay on brand, and I respect that, man. Going.
We got to keep powering through. There's no Uncle T here, right? So I gotta make up for him. And also as Uncle T would say, Robert is now going to step up and give his 50 golfers of the 64-man field. So now it's Robert's turn to give his guys.
Yeah. So for me, basically, obviously everyone's going to be on Morikawa, Justin Thomas up top. Hovland at 9-9, like he's pretty much Morikawa light in my eyes. 2 best up-and-coming golfers in the world. I really like having exposure to Hovland this week. Other values in that range, like Birdie or better, Snyder talked about. I don't mind Neiman at 9-2. It's only a 60-man field, so I can't give 50 guys really, but I don't know. Shane Lowry at 9-6. Some mid value, Siwoo Kim 7-8 outside of Mito to kind of differentiate. I know Snyder kind of hit on Mito. I love Mito also, but I don't know. I don't mind a little Siwoo Kim at 7-8. Yeah, I don't think you need to dip into the 6Ks. I think you're fine staying away from the 6Ks in this field.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys before we jump to bets. For DFS wise, how much do you leverage the overall content you see in a given week? Golf is a sport where, at least from a DFS perspective, and again, it's just kind of like an outsider take from me, where it's very content driven and it's not a primary sport for many people. It's a primary sport for some, but not many. So I think a lot of people are leveraging content overall. At some point, do you leverage content to view what potential ownerships are and then maybe kind of lower your own rankings on players if you also are personally high on those said guys?
I think, can I answer? I think you leverage content, but it's also like I'm running optimals and seeing what projection sets are hitting, and then trying to differentiate or build like a secondary chalk build off what we're seeing for an optimal.
Got it. Because I've heard some people say, oh, well, just pick the best golfers for a week and you're fine. Doesn't matter where the field is. Just pick the best golfers for the week and you're fine. But I do think that over time, right, and this is just kind of DFS 101, right? I mean, if you're taking, two guys that are both going to be 40% or 30% owned, 20% owned, whatever it is, who has more upside, who's safer, blah, 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 blah. But you want ultimately guys where you can find that discrepancy in ownership percentage. And I think if you take in enough content, I think those ownership numbers are fairly predictable coming into slates. Would you guys, Snyder, what do you think? I mean, right? Relatively?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I really don't take too much into consideration with ownership in PGA. I would rather just leave, say, 300 to 900 on. If I'm going to MME, I'll just put that in the rules where I want to leave that salary off. That'll differentiate yourself enough right there. And it's so tough to get 6 of 6 through on these cuts and these DFS contests. It's usually right around that 5 to 10% mark. So I think just getting 6 of 6 through also will help differentiate yourself. And that's kind of the way I approach it. Just play the guys I mainly am high on.
Yeah, I mean, I think one way that I really look at ownership, and if you have a guy like Justin Thomas, and not in this field, right? He's not going to be 5%, but if like Justin Thomas is going to be 5%, right? Like I'm going to take notice of that, right? Justin Thomas is really talented. Sometimes that happens with golfers, right? I like to look at like the top end chalk guys and just be like, okay, who at the top is the cheap chalk, right? Mito Pereira is one of them. Again, nothing against Mito, Snyder, but that whole travel and everything, like the guy's very talented, right? But I mean, I don't know if I can do it. Like it's just he's 7'2". He's going to be the highest owned golfer right now that I'm looking at. And then Mr. Vegas, right? Listen, I like Johnny Vegas. I think he's a fun golfer to play at these really crappy events. He also, I don't know, he feels like I don't know if he's exactly a choker, but man, I feel like he never closes. He has won events, right? But I just don't need to go there. Now, he's not at a price tag where he has to win the event, right? But I just don't see myself playing either Mito or Vegas. And I will say this, when you build out your teams, I think it's fine to play one of Mito and one of Vegas. This is where I think groups become important. If you want to play Mito and Vegas, which is perfectly fine, just don't put them together, because if you put both those guys together, that's a total of like 50% ownership. And now you have to find other spots, I think, to get different. And you could play both those guys together, but if you do, right, imagine all the combinations that are going to be playing those two together, right? So maybe just play them separately from each other. Maybe you build 50 lineups in the builder, and then you just keep them separate from each other, and you can be overweight on shares where you're playing one of Mito or one of Vegas. I think that's a super smart way to play it if you really want to get exposure to those guys.
Yeah, that brings up a lot of good points. I mean, roster construction as a whole, I guess, kind of plays into the whole mix, right? Because you mentioned there, you take two guys who you know are going to be 50% owned. You're more or less obligated if you're in tournaments to then pair them with a few 1 to 5% ownership guys so that you kind of know you're going to be different. But it's all correlated, I guess. Not even just golf, I guess all sports, DFS. But I had a few questions on golf, how it relates to other major sports. So thanks for giving perspective there on each. All right, so outrights, longer outrights, if you will. I know it's a smaller field, but Snyder, you have one guy that you think is a long shot that's got a decent value at least?
Yeah, I'm going to just roll with Mito Pereira right here. He's at 100 to 1 to win this event. I mean, I think he's got the upside, I think, for those type of odds, and that's where I'm looking for in this long range here.
Awesome. Mango, your long shot?
Yeah, after I shit on like Mr. Pereira, and like the worst part about this is like Snyder hasn't been like missing, so like I am just looking like an absolute on the other side of Snyder, but we shall see. We'll see what happens there. I just can't do it. But hey, the long shot, it is one of the better ones to take a chance on. I'll go with Mr. Higo, right? Higo can definitely win himself some events. He's one of those younger, talented golfers. If the Olympics were probably a month ago, Snyder, right? He would be the flavor of the week. Everyone would be talking about Mr. Higo. That was like maybe 3-4 weeks ago. So while everyone's on the new flavor, Mr. Mito Pereira, I'll be on Mr. Higo.
Awesome. Bobby, got a long shot?
Yeah, I'm going to go Siwoo 55 to 1, right there below Mr. Higo on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Awesome. And then Snyder, who do you think wins this tournament?
I think Colin Morikawa is going to win the event. I think this course just sets up really well for his game. I mean, He's going to be just firing at these pins in these wet conditions. He'll be able to just target these pins and just go right at them. And he hits the fairways well. I mean, he's just not going to get in trouble, I don't think, here at all. I mean, he's just going to be right there the whole week.
I'll tell you what, why I kind of now like Morikawa even more. Snyder never really ever takes the top of the chalk guy.
No. I mean, when you look at him at 6.5 to 1 here, I mean, you usually are seeing like John Rahm and stuff at, 6, 7 to 1 and like full field events on majors and stuff. And we're getting Morikawa here versus there's probably 40 of these guys are just dead money, don't even have a chance. I mean, it's basically Morikawa versus 15 to 20 of these guys to win, I think.
That's awesome. And we talk about top 5 at plus 120 seems interesting as well there. Mangone, who's your winner?
Yeah, so I will say the Morikawa bet is not a bad one this week, I think. Typically, you see like these like 6 to 1 and 7 to 1 bets, like guys like Robert show up on the show, John Rahm out of 150 man field. They go, I shipped with the 7 to 1 guy, right? I think this is a week where it's more okay to do it because it's only a 60-man field, right? There's not as many studs. So I'm going to pull a Robert Gomes. I'm going to take Morikawa because Snyder loves himself some Morikawa. That way I can stroll on this show next week and say, hey, I picked the winner. What are you guys going to say against me? So give me Morikawa. I think it's not a bad week to take these guys that are higher up towards the top. Typically, I don't like to do that, but I think it's a decent week too.
Bobby, what do you think?
Sad to see, man. Going taking shots, right? I was about to give him a big ups on like cumulative lineup ownership that he kind of hit on in the last segment. I thought that was a really sharp call with splitting up Vegas and Mito. And Gomes usually the cash guy, not really thinking about playing. He's usually playing those guys together, so I think he's changed up his game a little. But yeah, I don't know. Me, Victor Hovland, that's who my guy is. 11-1. That's who I'm going to take.
Awesome. Hovland is 11-1. Awesome. All right, guys. I guess our top 20 is even relevant. Yeah, they are relevant this week. Okay. So top 20 is one guy that you like to make the top 20. I know that it is an interesting week because the field is lower in terms of volume. But what do you, Snyder, what do you think for a top 20?
Top 20, I'm going to look at AD Arenas. It's a guy across seas. He's plus 360 to win the top 20. You can get Mito right there, too, if you're going to keep following that trend. He's at like plus 240, I think. We hit on that last week, I know, so.
Okay. Mangone, you got a top 20 you like?
Yeah, I'm pulling up the odds still, so give me a second. I'm unprepared here, JJ. My bad. I remember I told you I hit endless taco night, so I got.
That's more than enough of an excuse to be unprepared.
I mean, I figured you would appreciate that. You would be okay with it. That's something I've heard of you down.
That's always okay on these shows. That always. I can't speak to other people's shows, but that's okay here.
All right, let me get back to the top 20s again. I just want to make sure I get a good number for you. I don't want to give out. I just gave you literally the 6 to 1, right, or 7 to 1. I can't give that again. I got to make sure I give something.
Robbie, top 20. What about your boy Kim?
Carlos Ortiz, Mangone's boy that he's gonna pick when he gets into these top 20. Top 20, Carlos Ortiz. I like it. My model says 10% to make the cut for Carlos Ortiz. I don't mind some Carlos Ortiz.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick Carlos Ortiz top 20. The reason why I wouldn't is I just think he's such a high upside guy. I'd want him more top 10 or top 5. That's at least for me, because I feel like that's the value that you get on someone like him. This isn't
a top 20. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said. What do I have?
By the way, this isn't a DFS or bet show. If we have
40% the top 20. I'm sorry.
This isn't a DFS or bet show if we haven't mentioned the Si Woo Kim narrative, right? And the Sung Jae Im. JJ might not know about this, Snyder. How about you tell him? Because it's a great narrative. Give it to him, Snyder.
Yeah, Sung Jae Im and Si Woo Kim are basically playing to not go to do their military duties. I mean, if they don't get a medal here at the Olympics, I mean, they'll be heading into the military boot camp. I mean, Sung Jae Im actually doesn't. He has one more chance, I think, next Olympics. But Si Woo Kim is now or never for him. I mean, personally, I think that's almost too much pressure on these guys, and I'll be looking to fade them here. But I mean, they're going to be popular, and people are talking it up like crazy. What do you think of that, JJ?
I'm a narrative guy. I'm just gonna leave my comments to myself on this one.
Other golfers, I'd probably just let them go.
I will say, Siwoo didn't mess around, right? Didn't he skip out on the Open to just make sure he?
Yeah, they both did.
Like he didn't mess around. So, how about? I mean, listen, I'll give for top 20. I'll give Abe Answer because he's a steady Eddie kind of guy. I know he gets there, and I love his irons, and it does feel like a decent event for him to win. But I'll give you like top 10, top 5. We'll go with Siwoo Kim top 10 and Sungjae Im top 5. There we go. Because I like Sungjae. I think he's probably my favorite of the two to bet.
So you were asked to give a top 20, and instead you gave a top 5.
I gave a top 20, a top 10, and a top 5. There you go, JJ. I gave you them all.
I just can't. All right, so I'll put him at 6-1, top 5.
There we go. And honestly, JJ, you know what you're supposed to do? Just put him in the medal, right? They have those up there. You got to put him in the medal so he misses the military. I mean, come on. You're up there, JJ. Let's say you're in 3rd place and Sungjae's in 4th. And if you birdie the hole, you get to keep 3rd for the medal. Or if you get the bogey or the par, right? Sungjae gets to not be in the military. What are you doing, JJ? Are you missing that?
That is an interesting take.
You're missing that for Sungjae.
I'm missing the putt. I want to know if JJ's missing it or if he's taking his medal. We know Patrick Reed is going to go out there and win it for USA and take that medal from him like a nice villain. But I'm wondering what JJ.
I'm a medal guy. I have a trophy rack in my house, so I value the hard gold. Granted, whether it's bronze, silver, whatever, it would be an addition to the rack. So yeah, I'm a medal guy.
Well, poor Sungjae would be in the military. Now you'd hate to see it.
Back to my comments on, no comments on the narrative situation from before. All right, so we could briefly talk. Well, yeah, you know what? I'll segue right to this. So to win a medal, right? So we had briefly touched on this before the show, but to win a medal, we have obviously multiple odds here. Snyder, do you have somebody you like here in this event?
Yeah, I like Thomas Peters here. He's a 16-1 to a medal here. He's long off the tee. He's got the upside. He's shown some great upside here on that Euro Tour. I mean, he's definitely capable of showing out here. I mean, as long as that putter's working for him.
Awesome.
Peters is a great one, by the way. He's another guy. If you look on FanDuel specifically, he's only 8.7K. Pretty good price tag on Peters over there. So if you are playing on FanDuel, kind of like going to him, but I'm definitely going to look at him in DFS as well. I think he's a really good option.
Also, from medal winner, Bobby Mangone, want to add anything, or we could just move on to matchups?
I'm going to stick on Sungjae, so that we'll just stick with that. Top 5 medal. Same thing for Sungjae, but Bobby, you can go.
I'm going with Siwoo, 14-1. I need this man not to have to go to the army for his country. Let's get Siwoo a medal. 14-1.
Awesome. Now, in regards to matchups, who would you maybe want to target? Would want to fade this week? I do see DK's got a ton of different matchups this week. You don't need to give me a specific matchup, but a guy you're looking to target and a guy you're looking to fade. Snyder, we'll start with you.
I'm looking to back Morikawa as long as I keep going with this, and I like how he's matched up with. He's matched up against Xander Schauffele. I'll be looking to target him this week. I'm not really on him this week. I'll be looking to fade him, and Morikawa's minus 115 against him this week. I like that.
Xander Schauffele.
Yeah. Xander.
Yeah, you said you were fading Xander there, right?
Yeah, correct.
I'll say this one thing in DFS and in betting to look at, probably on matchups too. You're probably going to see a lot of these books price Sungjae and Siwoo versus some tougher opponents just to bait people into bets, right? So you might get some really good numbers, especially if you wait up until the tournament. You might get some pretty decent spots on some other golfers in head-to-head matchups against them. So that's something definitely to look at. Like, I'm not saying you'll get JT matched up against them, but I pulled up the FanDuel book real quick, and like Siwoo was against Christian Bezuidenhout, and he's a pretty good golfer. Not saying I want to bet that, but just seeing that makes me think that you might see some interesting bets there. And you got Sungjae Im against Corey Connors, right? And I know Sungjae is a dog there, but again, Corey Connors is definitely one of those good ball strikers. And I am looking at some ball strikers at this event. And one ball striker I think is decent head-to-head is Paul Casey on the FanDuel Sportsbook, minus 112 against Shane Lowry. I know Lowry's been playing pretty good, but Paul Casey has been amazing. And he's been specifically really good when he's not playing on the U.S. soil, right? So I think it's a pretty good spot for a guy like Paul Casey in that matchup, minus 112.
Awesome. Bobby, you have a matchup you like?
Not really. I like Morikawa over Rory on the DK Sportsbook, but Morikawa's a favorite. Like, I don't really get into these matchups too heavily, so.
Yeah,
no
need to force it. No need to force it. We don't need to be like Mangone.
That's very hurtful, JJ.
I mean, is it? Or so just real quick to recap Bobby's matchup, not really. Always appreciate the honesty on this show. That's what at least that's what I want to see.
First look on the show.
That's right.
JJ, the only thing I forced tonight was all those tacos down. That's it. I did not force anything else.
All right, so maybe final notes on this, and maybe some things brewing at Rumpier Sports. I'm gonna let you answer that question. So what's going on this weekend coming up in Rumpier Sports, and any final notes on the tournament?
Yeah, so head on over to the Rumpier Sports YouTube page and check out the Golf Olympic show. You can see Hoop, AP, and this guy named Snyder. They broke it all down. So that's if you want to get some more golf stuff. It's over there for free on that show. If you want to get our golf content, which it's going to be up until it starts 6:30 p.m., use that code RPSHeater25 to get 25% off, or you can use the code GETBETS to get the bet side for free on your monthly payment, right? So obviously, if you're someone that's into the betting side, that's something that could be appealing to you. And then we got everything you need, MMA, NASCAR. We got Olympic basketball. I mean, we have a ton of stuff over here at Rumpier Sports. So we're not just charging you for, our basketball package, Olympic package, the golf one. We're charging you for everything. And I will give us the 2 thumbs up, JJ, right? 2 thumbs up.
That's right. Thumbs up.
Yep. And you're not getting the slam the lock button play of the week because it has not been going well. So we need to find a new bit because that's how those things work, JJ. So I will find something else maybe for next week. I think it's the FedEx Cup. So maybe I'll find something else better I can bring to you. But no slam the lock button play. It did not work out and it has not been going well.
You adapt like no other man going. If only we can get Streel Daddy in the FedEx. I mean, maybe that's the answer.
That might be it. Streel Daddy is the man. Maybe he can cruise on the ship that whole thing.
Snyder, any final notes on this tournament? Anything you're looking forward to for it?
No, I'm just looking forward to a different time frame and watching some golf. I mean, we're gonna get some evening into the late night golf coverage. Hopefully, the coverage is not as terrible as it has been lately. I mean,
the Olympics you'd figure it'd be okay, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. The British Open was wild.
Yeah, that was pretty bad stuff. I mean, we don't ask for much. Just give us some good content and give us a shot tracker at least. I mean, let us follow it a little.
Yeah, no, we understood. Bobby, anything? Any last notes? Anybody you want to thank?
I just want to know if I can play tomorrow. Like, I'm going to drive to New Hampshire, enter 150 teams, and then I can't play. Get back to Massachusetts, find out I can't enter. We'll see. I don't know. I have to do email my rep or something, figure out what's going on here.
The struggle sounds real. Struggle sounds real. I can get you, if you give me your address, I can get you a few tiny violins sent over there. It's up to you.
Yeah.
No, but truly, guys. Oh, go ahead, man. Go.
I was going to say, Robert, just get in your car right now and go get
I don't know if I just don't want to drive 45 minutes out of my way. I'm lazy as shit. I don't want to drive 45 minutes. I'm going to have to figure out if you
I got this. Robert. Uncle T told me to get on you, so I'm about to get on you. Have you listened to the golf show with Snyder, AP, and Hoop yet? Have you listened yet?
I haven't listened to it. But
okay, so get in your car right when we get on this show. Put that thing on your phone. I know you don't have it. You don't have a flip phone, right? Put it on. Get the YouTube going. Pick up an ice cream cone on the way there, and then enter your contest. Drive back. It's that simple, Bobby. What is it? 10:30 right now. You'll be back by midnight. You won't have missed anything. The lady will be ready for a nice workbench session, and it'll be a good night.
It doesn't sound too bad. I'm gonna have to take you up on that.
I think we did collectively agree though that Robert should be avoiding dairy after the last time. After the last time he was all in on Tony Finau to win a tournament with talented golfers in it while he was eating ice cream. So yeah, we've all collectively agreed Robert's going to be avoiding dairy entirely for the foreseeable future. So if you do enjoy ice cream, don't tell any of us about it. As always, folks, thank you for watching. Hope you guys all enjoyed the content. And you found it helpful as well. As Snyder mentioned, this tournament does have a different time frame. It's going to be starting tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Is that right, Snyder?
Yep, correct.
So if you're a golf fan, it'll be interesting to watch golf at night Other than that, we'll be back with content all week. Joe will have you covered in bases. Tyler Spread and the DFS crew. Tyler Spread and some other folks on that show as well. I know Gavin was on it. Maybe Jay was on it with them. Either way, broke down the NBA draft, so be sure to check that out as well.
You know who was on it actually? Steve Boynton. He knows.
Boynton was on it.
Yes, and he knows his college stuff, man. I mean, he's our DFS guy for the college. So listen, if there's anyone that can break down all the players, if there's anyone who knows about some random stiff at a D3 school, it's him.
That's right. Boynton's the man. So enjoy that as well. That's on this channel also. And again, Joe will have you covered in bases the next few days. I'm going to be back with tennis with Spread tomorrow, and we'll have another vid on Friday. So again, content lined up all week. Run Pure Sports as well. Tons of content for DFS-wise, as Mango mentioned. Head over to us at runpuresports.com, runpurebets.com. And as always, folks, gamble responsibly. Stay safe. Thanks again for watching. And as always, run pure. See you guys next week.